I want to throw a negative in there, though, for the Nations League.
England.
It's taxing on the players.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it. Some players will have played upwards of 50 to 60 games in this season.
Yeah.
You know, with all the pre-season friendlies, domestic football.
Tiring, then.
Yeah, think about that. That's a lot of wear and tear on the players.
It was way too short a gap between the Champions League final and the Nations League. I think that's more, for me, that's more a criticism of the Champions League final. I don't know why that's early June now.
When do you reckon it should be?
Well, it used to be, don't we all remember when it used to be like mid-May? Like when it was half-term time, but especially when I was at school, I remember Champions League final was a Wednesday night at half-term.
Just going back to this, like I've got the stats here. So Raheem Sterling, he's played 55 games and then 61 if you count the end of last season, the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then this is going to blow your mind. Virgil van Dijk had a real good season.
Yeah.
62 games this season without the World Cup, because obviously Netherlands weren't in it.
No, and the Dutch weren't in it.
How mad is that? That's 5,035 minutes.
Like I said, it's a lot of minutes inside 12 months.
It is, and
Shows
is that too many games for the modern day footballer? Because if you're going back to, let's go back 30 years, that's too many games.
Yeah.
But for the modern day footballer,
I think the standard
is that too.
It's a lot quicker as well and whatnot. The game,
yeah, definitely.
Footballers are more, especially than 30 odd years ago. They're a lot more
fitter as well.
Fitter
diets.
I mean, you see, you've got. I know he's a goalkeeper, but you've got Buffon, who's like 41.
Yeah.
Obviously, with playing that many games in a season, you run the risk of injury.
Yeah.
Let's play, 62 games in a season.
Natural.
Yeah.
And obviously, if a player gets injured in the Nations League, they're going to miss the start of the league season.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sketchy, I think. I do think it's too many games, but I'm not complaining because it's another tournament for us to watch.
It's fine for neutrals watching. But I've always thought a good comparison with footballers and how we go on about the minutes. And I get it's tiring, but for example, you compare it to something like tennis.
Oh, it's grueling, isn't it?
Well, it's very grueling, and they almost put footballers to shame in this sense, in that, like, you're on tour for basically the whole entire year, probably a gap between December and January before you're in for the next one. And in those tournaments are 2-week-long tournaments. And well, if you're in the Grand Slams, which is best of 5, your average time on court is probably going to be about the smallest amount of time you're going to have is 2 hours. So you're doing that every other day for a 2-week
I get
span.
that, and there are definitely sports that test their athletes much more.
Yeah. I think that's
so when you're looking at that, potentially it might not be too many games.
Exactly. So I think it's I've always thought tennis is probably the most grueling sport. So I think it's quite a harsh comparison to compare tennis to football. But it's interesting in the sense, in looking in that sense that, like, how footballers seem to.
They're kind of like the prima donnas, aren't they?
Almost, yeah.
Looked
in that
after
sense.
a bit too much.
Whilst, like, people like Rafa Nadal and all them lot are, putting in 3-hour matches every other day, and we're kind of like saying, they're playing 2 90-minute matches a week. God, how awful!
Yeah,
it does make you think, doesn't it?